I think by now anyone who knows exactly where there's a $2,000 a month limit knows that feeling. You wake up after another long night of role playing online and furiously masturbating to internet porn, only to get a reminder on the Amazon app on your $20 Alcatel smartphone with Boost Mobile that the newest video game is about to arrive. You put on your Zelda branded t-shirt, run to McDonald's to get a bacon, egg, and cheese McMuffin in your 2002 Chrysler PT Cruiser, and you come back. While you're down in a Shasta mountain rush from Dollar Tree, the postal guy leaves at your door an Amazon Prime box containing a brand new Nintendo Switch and a copy of the video game you've been waiting on for several years.
The Legend of Zelda! Breath of the Wild! Ah!
Back when the Wii U was first being shown at E3, when Nintendo was using misleading tech demos that had better graphics than games released on the console, such as the Garden demo, Nintendo showed off a tech demo for the Legend of Zelda series that showed what a Zelda game would look like on this brand new console. And what do you know, it looked like Zelda if it were on the Xbox 360. The only problem is, a few years later, Nintendo actually announced a new Zelda game for the Wii U, and what do you know, it was downgraded with a cel-shaded art style being used instead. Now, this isn't the first time this has happened, and when the GameCube was brand new, there was a realistic-looking Zelda tech demo in the same style as Ocarina of Time, and controversially, Wind Waker with its cel-shaded graphics came out instead. At least they kind of made up for it with Twilight Princess, I guess. And this was the same deal, except of course Nintendo fanboys were blindly hyped for this game to the point of throwing their Wii remote across the room every time someone would dare question Nintendo's downgrade, making up excuses for the game being downgraded. But that wasn't even the worst part about the development of this game. See, Breath of the Wild was constantly delayed, becoming a recurring appearance at E3. Originally being planned for launch in 2015, the game finally came out in 2017. Taking 5 years to develop. During this time period, numerous things happened. Nintendo's CEO Satoru Iwata died, causing a Steve Jobs death-style reaction among internet gamers, where everybody was pressing F to pay respects. The Xbox One X was announced as the Scorpio, and the PlayStation 4 Pro came out. The Xbox One added backwards compatibility. Windows 10 came out. Donald Trump was elected. New iPhones came out, including one that ditched the headphone jack. And, yeah, lots of shit happened during this time. But perhaps most importantly, Zelda was no longer just a Wii U game. Instead, it was being developed and released on the same day as the Nintendo Switch was. It was being made for the Nintendo Switch 2. This was a genius business move, as Nintendo fans who didn't know any better didn't just buy a Zelda for Wii U. Instead, they bought a Nintendo Switch for $300 instead, with Zelda, which also cost $60. People make GoFundMes and emergency commission drives in attempts to buy the new Switch instead of just spending $60 for the same game on the Wii U, a system they already owned. It's the 3DS all over again, when people were buying a $250 3DS in order to play Pokemon the same way they did on the DS, but blurrier. So, let's start Zelda Breath of the Wild and talk about it. The first thing you'll see with Breath of the Wild is a long-ass screen that says downloading update to system memory. You'll wait about 30 minutes with the optional Ethernet adapter, and even longer if you're using the Wii U's laughably weak piece of shit Wi-Fi chipset that can't receive signals for shit. During this time, you can do plenty of things, like put in pizza rolls in the microwave, clean your room, watch Cartoon Network, argue on message boards about how Nintendo is the best video game console maker ever, and how anybody who doesn't like the new Zelda game is just a contrarian who doesn't get it, and how it's all perfect. And browse E621, of course. You have to wait another 10, 15, 20 minutes or so for the update to actually install on the Wii U. That is lots and lots of time you could be spending getting kills and stuff. So then you start the game and you see some loading screens, and it loads quite a bit, and then the game finally starts, I guess. You see this dumb, pretentious intro, and who the fuck cares about it? Link wakes up finding he is some bathtub or some shit half naked, and then he sees scan lines and low frame rates everywhere like it's the Xbox 360. Like we're back in 2007 except everything looks worse and shit. So, here's what Breath of the Wild is like. See, one day someone mailed Nintendo a copy of a Bethesda game, or likely they saw that Skyrim was selling through the roof with 30 million copies sold, and they're like, man, this is what the cool kids are playing now. Let's make our new Zelda like this. So the gameplay is like an Elder Scrolls game, but it's blander. You walk around a big empty area, and you don't even run across a town in the first hour or so. While on Fallout or Elder Scrolls, you would have been in the first town by now. There's enemies here or there, and just like in a Bethesda title, you'll run into clusters of them in a formation you can take out. It's pretty boring, and there's nothing memorable about Zelda, except for the fact that it has a Zelda logo on it, which means that the neurons are going off in your brain telling you to buy it today as you jump in your beat-up PT Cruiser and drive to GameStop, or pre-order it with Amazon shipping because that puts less wear on your car's transmission. The game was engineered for the Game FAQs gamer. See, early on you'll be trying to go to some area to advance the game, and what happens? Something fucking kills you. You could try going around it and it'll still kill you again. You could either struggle trying to find a million ways to die over and over again, or you could just buy the Prima Game Guide for $20 on Amazon. Or you could just struggle with a text walkthrough that feels like it was written in the days of Windows 95 when the sounds of dial-up were common, and when you could still buy Surge and when AOL CDs were everywhere. And here you are trying to decipher this guide like you're a non-programmer reading source code for an emulator, wondering how the coding gods made these Nintendo games run on your PC that costs $1,000. The game features some unique features to add in realism to a game that's about as realistic as driving a nice car is in Forza when you're still living with your parents and the only thing you can afford is a PT Cruiser on Craigslist. Basically, weather will kill Link. You can climb mountains and the cold will kill you. Rain in the game is as acidic as the water in older Grand Theft Auto titles for the PS2 is, and it'll mess with your gameplay experience. I mean, I want it to feel like an adventure, not that guy from Lester the Unlikely on the Super Nintendo. The controls in Zelda are confusing. Unlike a Bethesda or modern game, you don't use the triggers to attack with a weapon. Instead, you use the X button, which is also in a different place in a Nintendo controller compared to the Xbox controllers, which are what every gamer uses on both the Xbox and the PC, which means that many Nintendo refugees who bought a gaming PC because they didn't want to admit defeat by buying an Xbox are used to this controller too. Oddly enough, the game does not make use of the Wii U's gamepad, not even for the tablet-style device you find that seems as if it was designed for the Wii U's gamepad to display maps and stuff. Instead, the gameplay is black on the bottom screen, wanting you to tap it to enable off-TV play. Graphically, the game feels a lot like an Xbox 360 game, and if you overlaid the loud buzzing sound of the 360's disk drive over this game, it fit right in. The game has frame rate drops and a low resolution, but the game also looks mediocre, and I've seen better looking 360 titles. Sure, you can say the map in Breath of the Wild is bigger, but not only is it incredibly bland, but it's also a game that fits on a Blu-ray disc, which can hold a lot more storage than the 8GB DVDs the Xbox 360 used, and if a game came out on the 360 that required one disc to be installed, I bet it would fit on there as well. However, despite this game's flaws, Nintendo did come up with a genius way to pander to horny nerds with too much taxpayer money. The game features several anthropomorphic animal characters that every furry wanted to have sex with. Oh, and you are also seeing furries opening up emergency commission drives to buy the new Nintendo Switch as well if you monitor those parts of the internet, as that would cut into their rent fees or would bankrupt them when they have to replace their PT Cruiser's transmission again. And they need their car working in order to go to McDonald's and back. In fact, one of the anthropomorphic birds in the game was voiced by a furry for extra authenticity. However, Nintendo wasn't too happy about his non-gaming activities. So, all in all, is Breath of the Wild worth playing? Well, it depends. Are you a community college student with an Acer laptop who obsesses over the 90s, watching cartoons and playing emulators during class before going home and playing your Wii U all day and eating pizza rolls? Are you a hipster who lives in a studio apartment playing video games that resemble 90s games as much as possible? Do you hate modern games and screech at how bad modern games are? Is the only current gen system you own a Wii U, and that doesn't really count that much? And do you only play video games that resemble like 90s games as much as possible and hate modern games but don't care if they have a Nintendo logo on them? If so, this game is for you. Buy this game, and if your transmission fails again, just start a commission drive on GoFundMe. And and then playing video games is more important anyways than being successful in life if you're buying this game. Otherwise, don't waste your money. It's just more bland garbage. But hey, it did get a 10 out of 10 from IGN. I mean, that must mean it's good, right? Oh, wait, I forgot. Yeah. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more, gamers.